It's an interesting thing. We've got some interesting topics tonight on tonight's show. Great lineup of panellists tonight. And they're all in the green room, just over there, getting made up. 4 very clever, very lovely ladies will be joining me very shortly, and the topics they'll be dealing with are these. Catfishing. I'd never heard of it, but catfishing apparently is when somebody masks their identity or uses somebody else's and tricks you online. You can lose your money, you can lose a whole lot more than that. Dignity. The next issue tonight is slack co-workers. Yes, we've all had those, haven't we? And we have to put up with them. Or do we? How tolerant do we have to be in the workplace? And the final topic tonight, first dates. Awkward, uncomfortable, fun. We'll see if we can get some of the girls to share their horror stories. All good stories. Coming up right now. Sweet and Sour. See you soon.
Got a problem, big or small, would a miracle be nice? Our motley crew is back, churning out advice. You might even laugh a bit in the following half hour. Park your backside on the couch, 'cause baby, it's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
Pour some sugar on there, baby.
It's time for Sweet and Sour. It's time for Sweet and Sour.
Apparently. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sweet and Sour. Lovely, as always, to have your company. And you met them all last week, but they're back with us because we didn't finish our chat. We might tonight, we might not. First up, hello, Nat. Welcome back.
We left you wanting more, Gary.
You did. You always do. Actually, that's just a regular feature in my life. No, welcome, Nat. Nice to have you. What did you cook during the week?
Good to see you again. Well, a few, you know, getting over the whole chocolate binging thing, so we went just low fat.
I've still got plenty in my stash.
Yes.
All those bunnies.
It's all soups and bone broths and no sugar.
And chocolate. And chocolate. You a chocolate fan
Over
too?
the chocolate.
You're not?
Nope.
What do you eat?
Cheese.
Oh.
Oh, that's my other one.
Yeah, I can do cheese, Louanne. Is there a food for relationships that we should be looking at if we want to become... I read that's a myth.
For women, yes. For men, no. It's the zinc. We can go into that later.
Can we?
Well, I think that in a relationship, whatever food makes you feel good while you're eating it is a good thing for a relationship.
She never wants to eat watermelon. I always want to eat
Watermelon?
watermelon. I love watermelon.
Kid loves watermelon, eh?
What?
My little guy loves watermelon.
How old is he?
Like less than 2.
Less than 2 and he likes watermelon.
Loves the watermelon. I think
Yeah.
it feels good on his teething gums and stuff.
On watermelon. Yeah. Any weddings this week?
Yeah, a bunch. I think I've got 4 this week, yeah.
Well, 170 in over what?
2.5 years.
And you took a break to have a kid
No, I didn't take a break.
What?
3 days. I was in hospital.
took 3 days?
Yeah, well, because I was in hospital.
How many is that on average? My maths is bad. What's that?
Per week?
Yeah.
Oh, in quiet season 2 and busy season 5.
Oh my gosh.
I had a bride get married in hospital. She went into labour the day before her wedding, and they had to Skype the wedding. It was a friend's cousin. Really interesting.
They had to Skype the wedding?
They had to Skype the wedding because she had an emergency C-section the night before the wedding. She said the wedding's not off, and they did a hospital bed ceremony with a TV screen.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
As long as you can sign your name on the line.
Hello, Suze.
A couple of weeks ago, yeah.
When was the last wedding you went to?
I've been to 2 weddings in the last 2 months for 2 friends at second marriages, and we had to wear white for both
You
of them.
guys had to wear white?
Everyone had to wear white. One of them was a 50th. We turned up and it was like her 50th, and then she just goes, look, and we all so that was yay. And then another one the following weekend, a same group of friends. She had got married to 2 lovely men.
What colour were you wearing for that one?
White. I don't even have very many white things, and I had to pull the 2 things out. And then, of course, I got dirty, as I do with white, whenever I wear white, like a child.
I can't wear white. Every time I wear white, you know,
you
there's
just smell
chocolate.
something, exactly.
Actually, whenever anybody else wears white around me as well, I manage to get it on them.
Mental notes.
I like how you swiped at me.
Oh, it could have been anywhere.
The baby one, the baby bird. The person's got a baby.
This is the plainest I've been in 2 years.
Panellists, what precautions do you take when you're online? My 24-year-old daughter has been catfished. Didn't even know what that was. Which is a term used when online fake personalities are masquerading as someone you know or not to do all sorts of things to you, the least of which is to take your money. My daughter reacquainted with an old boyfriend online and only found out when she caught an international flight to meet up with him after 3 months of romantic messaging and exchanging photos, and she thought she was reacquainting. When she arrived in the States, he was nowhere to be seen despite her having transferred most of her spending money to him prior to departure. When she did track her old boyfriend down, he assured her he was still very much a resident of Australia and hadn't spoken or messaged her since they broke up. She was devastated. Having researched this, it appears to be an easy crime on the increase, and simply because of the young avail so much of themselves in an unprotected manner online. Was that all right? You got the meaning there anyway. It's not a question of simply wanting to share things on Facebook and not having any inhibitions to do so. It's a matter of protecting yourself and your loved ones from the scum of the earth out there who prey on the well-intentioned and naive. Many of these situations have resulted in suicides. Oh, panellists, how safe do you all feel? How have you protected yourself? Bettina of Crow's Nest in New South Wales. Susie, you're first up. Have you ever been the victim of cybercrime?
Well, yes.
Ever been the victim
No, because one of the things...
This sort of thing?
Well, Bettina, I wanted to say to you first, it's not age-related. It happens at any age, and you're hearing terrible stories about that lovely older woman who went to South Africa and was killed. I mean, there's so many terrible stories about it, really bad, terrible stories. I mean, I would say to your daughter, why didn't you pick up the phone and ring? And I think there's a little bit of more contact, everything online. Why would you follow someone that you know that you dated? Why wouldn't you ring them? But I actually...
why don't you pick up the phone?
Why wouldn't you pick up the phone and speak? So, look, I feel...
Especially nowadays, you've got Skype, you've got FaceTime, you've got
Exactly.
everything.
I mean, I feel safe because I'm actually not a great fan of social media, probably because I'm pretty useless at it. But there just isn't enough hours in the day, I don't think. And I do engage occasionally for Instagram and stuff for work, but you know, my Instagram has been hacked. I've never seen so many nude bodies. I don't even know how that happens. I don't know how you even have followers. Ridiculous. I've been caught giving my credit card details to a Telstra person, and that was the most embarrassing thing, and my children have never let me ever forget it. I mean, so dumb.
Neither would I.
So dumb. But no, but there was a really good excuse, but this show's not long enough for that.
We'll hear
and
that during the break.
I indulge, but look, I just think that you get down to...
bring you in.
This doesn't happen to silly people. This happens to smart people too. Well and truly, it
happened to Susie.
Sure, absolutely.
Oh my God, how embarrassing.
No, but you're a well-educated person who is not a fool. And if people like you can be fooled, then anybody can be fooled. And it's not anything to be embarrassed about. No, truly, because people are out there, they're preying on you.
My mum has never been fooled. She gets a phone call and she goes, no, I don't think so.
Are you sure she didn't
Can I just defend myself here for 1 minute? I was actually talking to Telstra on the phone for work because our internet was going down, and then they rang me literally 10 minutes later when I was at home saying, we know your internet is going down, and they followed the freaking story. And then I'm like, oh my God.
You really had to make that excuse, didn't you?
It's so true.
That's how this happens though. They'll, you know, the random text messages you get saying, hey, this is NAB and your online banking is down. I mean, most of us would look at this and go, I'm not with NAB, that's a scam. But occasionally it'll come up and you'll be like, oh yeah, I did try and log on to NAB today and it didn't happen. And oh wow, that must really be a thing. It happens, it really happens. And I really, really feel for this young lady. There are things that, of course, you can do to protect yourself online, and that is restricting some of your personal information, especially with your personal side of things. For a business side of things, there are things you can do to separate your business and personal
Lou, come on
things.
in.
But gosh,
there's many.
Don't worry about it, that's yours.
There's many ways that you can protect yourself online, but there's also being scammed isn't just about knowing that it's an obvious thing. I received some Valentine's Day flowers to my office and was like, oh.
How lovely.
I just put them over there with all the rest, but no, seriously. And when I uncovered who these were from, they were from somebody who was corresponding with me, had met me on a German marketplace where I was advertising for a dance partner. The person not only had used my photos taken out of Instagram, had also used my name and my job, and this man is corresponding with me for several months.
You have been catfished.
Developing feelings there where he thinks he's corresponding with me. Then he asked the question, you know, when's your birthday? And because he's like looking at everything of my stuff, he realised that the date that they'd given them was different than what my post would suggest. So sometimes you don't even know that your identity's been stolen. But I have had 2 occasions where once someone rang me and said, "Oh, you're on Tinder." I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. They're like, "Yes, you are." And so that's 2 times that I know of. They don't even have to. They just screenshot your photos and take your identity.
Come on, Nat, last word.
Sorry, it's fact check, be smart, look at the person on Facebook, look at their friend count. If they're not tagged in photos, I'm just cynical. Protect yourself, be very careful about what you share, who you friend. I've got a rule, I don't
Just
friend
be aware.
anyone. I don't friend anyone I don't know. Meet as soon as possible. And, if you can't meet them because they're in another country, Skype them.
Skype them.
Skype them.
We asked you
Go
people
slow.
at home to answer this question for us. Have you ever been subject to an online scam or had your bank accounts hacked? And believe it or not, there's the answer on the screen right now, 43%. Almost 50. Well, that's a small sample. You know, we don't get everybody, but gee, 43% have been hacked. Half of, coming up to half of our population. When we come back, we're going to be talking about workplace tolerance. What do you do if you can't stand the person who's a pain in the arse in the workplace? When we come back, sweet and sour. You allowed to say pain in the arse?
You are.
We are? Is that politically?
It's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
It drives me nuts. Social media, we're still talking about. If you'd like to send us a letter, send it to one of these social contact points appearing on your screen right now. And for everyone that we do receive here, every letter that we receive and discuss, we are going to send you to the movies courtesy of Natalie Cameron and NRC Communications, and we're sending you to Wonder Park. Straight into the next letter, Kathy of Subiaco, WA, writes to us, "Hi, Sweet and Sour. How tolerant do I have to be at my workplace? I have a recently employed work colleague who is a drama queen and an immature idiot who can't cope with anything. He's not even been here 2 weeks and already he's taken sick leave. He comes uninvited and sits on the corner of my desk to tell me that I'm his best friend. He tells me detailed stories of his gay sex encounters with his partner that I don't want to hear, nor do I in any way invite. He wears the same shirt to work every day over his t-shirts. He tells me what he thinks of other work colleagues he's barely met. He's always going outside for a smoke, and my workload is piling up because of him. I've told my supervisor and he advised me that we have to give him a fair go because it's not his fault that he's been sick for a few days already. I figure he'd also be a lot healthier if he'd stop smoking and lose 20 kilos in the process. He's revolting, I can't stand him and I don't know what to do," writes Kathy of Subiaco, and we're going straight to Nat.
Well, this experience is teaching Kathy that she could improve in setting her personal boundaries. That whole second paragraph says that. But look, I tell my children that, in this life you're going to come across many people and you're not going to like all of them. You might even disagree with 99% of them, be it how they look, what they say, or how they smell. Your job is to find the 1% that you do like or where you can relate and focus on that. And that's because the world needs more tolerance. And there needs to be more understanding, and it starts at home, it starts at the workplace, it starts in your country and it spreads across the world. So good luck with that, Kathy.
He's wearing the same shirt every day. He wants to tell her what...
Set her personal boundaries then.
How do you do that, Luke?
He might have 5 of the same shirts. Who is she to know that it's the same shirt? What I'm hearing here is called judgment, judgment, judgment.
Ooh.
And...
Hang on, he goes outside and smokes.
Sorry.
Her work's piling up.
Your reflection of your perception of me is a reflection of you. So whatever she's perceiving is, he's talked about people behind his back. Is that what you're doing? He's an idiot. What? Because he knows less than who, and he is. This whole thing is just about judgment. Everything that she sees in him that she doesn't like is about all the shit that she doesn't like about herself. So.
Her gay sex encounters, do you really think so?
her sex encounters, whether they're gay or whether they're not, whether they're irrespective of, you might want to hear about
Come on,
Granny's sex
Candice.
encounters.
What do you got to say here?
I think a lot of this could be solved by a big old pair of headphones.
Why can't you just speak up and say, listen, mate, go back and do your job?
Get some spray.
No, just like.
Why don't you just open your mouth?
Yeah, look what I'm doing. Just I'm typing.
Virtual reality.
Does everybody have to get on in the workplace?
No,
Can't you just
goodness
do
no.
your job and move on?
I'm a sole trader and I hate my boss.
It's not social interaction, it's work.
Yeah, this person sounds like they have a social.
It's work, that's right. It's not
Social-
social
Work.
interaction,
In a
it's work.
personality contest.
Yeah.
But her work is piling up and it's his fault she wants to
drop the
blame
rope.
him.
Drop the rope.
If he really drops the ball, he'll end up out in time
But
enough.
she's got to set the ground rules.
She has.
She's got to set her own ground rules. I'm sorry, I haven't got time for this. Really sorry. You're going to have to go. Sorry.
boundaries.
And then and actually find something to do. I mean, don't judge. But I agree with Lou.
Sometimes
She's
you gotta step up.
judgment. It's like, really, I'm not interested. That's
We
it.
asked-
Set the ground rules.
You viewers at home, this question, must we tolerate every workplace colleague? And here's what you said. Pretty well divided. There's a split there, 47-53. Yeah, 50-50.
47% are doormats. Interesting.
You have to tolerate everybody.
Well, you
But
do
that's
have you do have to tolerate
You've got to learn
everybody. You
tolerance.
do have to
Leave.
tolerate.
Or
Yeah.
leave. When we
do
come
have
back, we're talking about, first date duds. We'll see what stories the girls have got for us. Gosh, have I got a few for you? I'll tell you during the break. I'm not putting them away. When we come back, don't go away.
It's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
Pass the sugar on there, baby.
Oh, no, we're trying to work out which letter we like, but we haven't even done this one. First date dud. Hello, Sweet and Sour panellists. How many first dates do I have to go on, please? I can't find the man of my dreams, and I'm starting to think that ideal doesn't exist. I've swiped, I've dated from work, I've met people on a night out, but then it all soils. What a great word. Then it all
I
soils.
think she means boils.
When we go on that all-important first date. I've even gone a whole lot further on a first date when I've convinced myself it was the right thing, but it never seems to be. Is it just me, or does everyone find first dates so unnerving, uncomfortable, and downright unprofitable? It's just you. If I get a second date, it's always much better than the first, but I'm always looking for that first rush to sweep me off my feet rather than have to work hard and make things better in the second date. How young is this person? I'm sure the panellists have horror first date stories, so I'd love to hear some, if for nothing else other than to make me feel better. Also, do you think I may be doing something wrong here? Mandy of St. Peter's in South Australia. Candice.
I think her expectations might be a little too high. I think maybe she
Every
needs...
time?
Every time.
Every first date?
Yeah, I'm going to say this about my husband. I went on a first date with my husband and I was like, okay, yeah, I see something here. I wasn't swept off of my feet. That was probably about date 3 or date 4, I
Okay.
think. So I think that, you know...
That was 4 days later, though.
I think that this expecting her to be swept off the feet might be a little bit unrealistic all the time.
Yeah. Doesn't happen for everybody, does it?
Broaden your horizons.
Lightning
maybe,
strikes don't always happen.
Yeah, maybe date a little older, a little younger. Maybe look outside the professions that you're usually attracted
it up
to.
a bit.
Mix it up a little bit.
Susie?
I think if you're expecting to be swiped off your feet or thrown around, I actually think that you are actually setting yourself up for failure, quite frankly, because no one is ever going to be the dream person that you expect. So expect just to get to know someone and
What do
feel
you
that there's
expect on a
synergy.
first date? What do
It's
you
been
expect?
such a long time. So when I read this, I actually said, you know, tell me what your first date. I was like, oh my God, I don't even know if I could go back into the crevices of my brain. It's been so long for that. All I could think of was one of the worst ones was being dreadfully drunk and vomiting. But you know what I mean, like that. But I just want to say that what do you expect for the first date? You expect to actually meet someone who you get on with, who you actually can have a conversation with. Do you have a conversation with? There's a bit
Keep
of a
chatting.
synergy. You have a chat, and for me, if you can talk to them, then you're a good first date.
Just a chat. That's all you want on your first date.
That's it.
You're allowed to kiss on your first date?
If you
Well, it
First date?
depends. I mean, you know, when you were younger, like you didn't even need to go on a date to kiss somebody.
All right,
Like when you're at uni,
before
like,
we
it's
ask
just like you just
our
kissed.
ladies to my right, I'm going to, which is your left, I'm going to, we asked our people at home, I'll read you this one. Are first dates usually uncomfortable and awkward? Here's what you said. Funny stats tonight, they're all being split up. You know, 44% said yes, but 56% said no, they're not always uncomfortable and awkward. And if they're too uncomfortable, you don't really go on a second one, do you?
Exactly. That's the
Generally.
last date, not the first date.
But you said you got to 4 before the spark happened.
No, I was like, we hold a good conversation.
Yeah,
See that
exactly,
This is a
it's
good
talking.
person. Yeah, I'm interested in learning more about this person. And then by date 3, I was like, oh.
Nat,
But also, does he listen to you?
Well, I talk an awful lot. So
So I
much you
would
can do
reduce
there.
the time of those first dates. If you really find them uncomfortable and you find a second date much better,
speed date.
I would reduce the time of those dates. Just meet for a quick coffee.
Good idea.
And
No,
he doesn't
good.
agree with
Luanne's
me.
going,
But
no, no,
I would,
no,
I
you
just
can't see her,
reduce
but
that
she
first
is,
date
no.
and just get it out of the way. No, some people, you know, remember that movie where, like, they say, you know, and she had in the hair, and you know,
No.
Speed dates are no good.
it's not speed dating. It's just get the first one out of the
So
way.
let's talk about the brain science of love.
Brain
Let's not
science
just
of
talk
love.
about this, false fantasy that I'm creating.
Jeez,
that,
Mandy of
he's
St.
got to
Peters,
have
this
a...
is just for you. Brain
he's
science
going to
of love.
have sweep me off my feet. There's a paradox of choice, okay? And when there's too much choice, the human brain can't actually make a choice, okay? And this actually sets
That's
you up
supermarket
for
syndrome.
total failure in every sort of area of your life. You have 100 cereals to choose from, and you go in and try to choose this cereal, and how long do you stand there going, oh, what brand will I have? How much sugar has this got in it? The paradox of choice is too much. She's going on way too many dates, number one. Number two,
Too many
she
dates.
has an expectation that somebody else is going to bring to her on this date something that she's not bringing herself. Number three, the biggest mistake people make on dates is doing short dates. You cannot have an emotionally connected conversation with somebody in a short coffee date. I absolutely tell my clients, if you go on a coffee date, I will personally put a black mark against you. If you get more than 2 black marks, you are gone. Like, no coffee
I
dates.
tell everybody to go on a coffee date
No,
first.
no, 2.5
No.
hours. 2.5 hours to build a connection.
Oh my God,
You
what
need
if
to
you
have a
got
2.5
connection.
hours.
If you can't be with somebody for 2.5 hours and have a beautiful
no.
connected conversation, irrespective of
Blue, I'd be
whether they're
covered
your
in black
future
marks.
husband or not, it's not about just, oh my God, what can this person give to me? Oh, is he right for me? Is she right for me? Oh my God, yes, no, yes, no.
2.5 hours.
Paradise by the
Spark
dashboard
by
light.
you?
Like,
I feel like you need to have a spark.
I can't even be with myself for 2.5
Spark
hours.
of what? This person has
I
taken
agree
their
with-
time to come and meet you,
Exactly.
pay them the due respect and attention and care to hear their story, to listen to them, to laugh with them. They might not be the person of your dreams.
Okay, I need to ask you this question. There are some young people, our demographic's much older, but there are some young people who watch this, and I know, because of the nature of this show, young men haven't really developed an articulate conversation.
Really? Well, I could let you talk to my 16-year-old. He can
Well,
talk
some
to...
do, but they're exceptions. Generally, they're not
They're
as
terrible, they are,
conversant as young women. And to put them in a situation where they're going to have to chat for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's called getting out of your comfort zone. Guess
overwhelming
what?
for
They're going to
some
have to
people.
live with this woman at some point.
Ooh.
And
Yeah, but the thing is, Gary, you're saying, I think that you're underestimating the young people. The problem is if they put their phones away, and we didn't have a phone,
phone
and they
free.
actually spoke to each other, they might learn
Oh,
there's
hang on.
harder
That's another point, because people are going on dates now, especially the younger ones, and they are accessing their
I
phones.
conducted...
Do you put them away or do you keep them?
I conducted a survey last week, okay? So there's 2 surveys.
You've got 30 seconds left to conduct your survey.
One saying what was the biggest turn-off on a date. And so people got to vote, national survey,
Yeah.
on what are the biggest turn-offs on a date.
Phone number 1.
So poor personal hygiene actually was number 1. What the hell? But phones,
Luanne?
being rude.
Say good night.
Good night.
Good night, Australia. Nat,
So much more gold. Good night.
good night.
Good night.
Candice, good night.
have to come follow this up.
Susie,
Good night.
we're going to
Keep
keep
talking
chatting
about
here. Thank all of our wonderful panellists, our terrific crew, and thanks for having us at home tonight, Australia. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye. So, you're not allowed to use the phone.